So as we continue looking at angles, the next rule we need to know is angles around a point sum to 360. We're going to look at this in a bit more detail about questions where you may, for example, need to make equations and you may need to solve those equations. So in this case, have a look at this red point here. There's a line going through it. And we know that angles on a straight line at a point sum to 180. But that applies to both sides of the line. So if you look at this side here, that's also 180. So from there, we can say that 180 times 2 will give you 360 degrees. So angles around a point sum to 360. Now here's another example of a point and where you've got a number of lines coming out from it. And you've got 5 lines. You may have more or less lines. Either way, it's going to give you the same answer. So if I pick another random point here and I split this up into 3 parts, you can see the angles here will have to sum to 360. So these blue angles 1, 2 and 3, those 3 angles have to add up to 360 degrees. So we look at a practical example. Here's a question. What's the size of angle X? The first thing we're going to look at is what rule are we using? Well, this is obviously angles around a point, the point being this center bit here. We know that this angle here, just because of that symbol, the right angle, that's going to have to be 90 degrees. We've already got 210 degrees given to us here, and X is the angle that we don't know. So we can make an equation from this. We can say X plus 90 plus 210 has to equal 360 degrees. So from here we can add these two up. So X plus 300 equals 360. And then we're going to take away 300 from both sides. Draw a line. Now that's a 0 pair, so it cancels out, and X is equal to 60 degrees, and that's your answer. So there's a couple of practice questions here coming up. Pause the video, make an equation for all of these, and it specifically says work out theta. Now theta is this Greek letter that we use very commonly for angles. So it's kind of like an O with a little tick in the inside, looks like that. The font on the computer might sometimes make it look different, but that's all that is. So we want to work out these angles here. And it says give reasons. The reason for all of these is going to be the same. It's going to be angles around a point sum to 360. It means you have to write that specific sentence out for the answer. That is something that regularly appears in questions when it says give reasons. We have to specifically write the statement that we had in this slide here. So angles around a point sum to 360. So here's your question. Pause the video and have a go, and then I'm going to go through it. Okay, let's go through question 1. So we can see here that theta plus 50 plus 100 plus 100 equals 360. So that means theta plus 250 is equal to 360. I'm going to take away 250 from both sides. And I get theta equals 360 minus 250. That's going to be 110 degrees. Okay, second question. So this one's slightly easier. We are going to have theta plus 285 equals 360. And then we're going to do the subtraction from both sides. So take away 285. Take away 285. So theta is equal to 360 take away 285 is 75 degrees. Now remember, these diagrams are not always drawn to scale, so sometimes you have to trust your maths more than the diagram. Okay, the final question, we can see that there's an angle here that doesn't have a number attached to it, but that symbol is going to mean it's a 90-degree angle. And then it becomes the same as the first question. So we've got theta plus 70 plus 50 plus 90 equals 360. And then we're going to do 70 plus 50 plus 90. So that's going to give theta plus 210 equals 360. And then we're going to take away 210 from both sides. So that's a zero pair, so theta is equal to 360 take away 210, which is 150 degrees. So I hope you got all of those correct. If not, you may need to practice some of these questions a bit more, but those are the answers. And in each case, I'm not going to write this out 3 different times, but it's just going to be angles around a point, sum to 360 degrees. Now, do not write angles on a point equal 360. That doesn't make sense. We have to write sum, or they add up to 360. They don't just equal 360. That doesn't make sense. So make sure you're very specific with your language. It has to be this exact phrase that you want to use to get marks in assessments. Here are 2 more questions for you to pause the video and try. And then we're going to look at some slightly harder questions. Okay, so hopefully you've had a go with these. I'm now going to show you the working out for both of these questions. So we can see that in question 1, to work out x, we're going to have x plus 120 plus 111 is equal to 360. And then 120 plus 111 is 231 is equal to 360. And we are going to do 360 minus 231. So minus 231 minus 231, x is equal to 129. And then this one, slightly harder. We're going to form an equation first. So x plus 15 plus 145 plus x plus 60 equals 360. So we're going to combine the x's first. So x plus x is 2x. And then we're going to combine the numbers 15, 145, and 60. So it's 15 plus 145 plus 60. That's going to give you 220. That's equal to 360. I'm now going to solve this. This is a 2-step equation, so we're going to take away 220 first. So 2x is equal to 360 take away 220. That's going to be 140. And then we're going to divide by 2, divide by 2. So x equals 140 divided by 2, which is 70 degrees. Now, sometimes a question may ask you to work out both angles, in which case we know that this has to be 70 and this has to be 70 plus 15, which is 85. So be careful to read the question. If it says give the reasons, then you should also say angles around a point, sum to 360. Okay, we're going to continue this in the next video. Smash the like button.